Hi, Beck Ann here. Thanks for stopping by my channel, Beck and Sam Crafting Fun, to see what I was up to. Well, I had a play date with some friends and I didn't know what to work on. So I decided I would stamp this adorable little bunny. Kind of reminds me of Peter Rabbit, doesn't it? Well, this is an old Stampin' Up set called Fable Friends. Yes, you'll see it in just a minute. But I used my colored pencils and I just have a 24 pack of pencils. I don't have a big set or anything. And here's the Fable Friends. Isn't he cute? I'm sure he could be a girl too, but I always think of him as a boy. And so today I want to show you exactly how I did this because, sometimes you do not have the mojo to think of every single card and you just want to color. Maybe you don't feel very crafty and you want to get crafting, and so you do this and then it's like, well, now what? So I want to show you 4 different things that you can do with a single image. So for this first card, I had them pretty close together, so that's why I took that punch and showed you how you can make a decorative edge if you've made your little critters too close together. And I also want to show you this quick and easy style card where you take a square and cut it down the middle. Now, that gingham paper, I had cut it at 3.5 by 3.5 and cut it down the middle. And so it made a perfect decorative edge so that I could highlight that cute little bunny. And then, when you do a card style like this, get out your leaves, you guys. I will take my scraps and just do a cut session with all my different dies. For this one, I definitely wanted to use some palm leaves, and that's what I did. And then I brought in some blue ribbon on the edges to bring in some blue since he had that blue sweater, so I thought it would bring the colors in. And then I just got a circle punch and had stamped a Happy Easter and cut off the top so that it could be hanging out up there. I like that style and it kind of reminded me of an egg. What do you think? Isn't that cute? Now you're going to see me add some little bling in here. I added some gems. They're just some recollection gems I had. So this is card number 1. What do you think? I just added 2 little banners in there from now. For card number 2, let's get started on that one. Sometimes you can take a big word stamp or die cut and add a cute critter. And that's what I decide to do for this one, because when you have a critter and add it to a word, doesn't it just elevate the card? Look at that. Now, I had that paper hugs gifted to me by one of my craft roulette friends. So this is my craft roulette card for episode, I believe, 258. And all you have to do is take your little critter and fussy cut it out. And you can see I left a white border and I didn't have a problem with that because I was going to put it on white paper. Now I had some vellum border strips in my stash. These are a Martha Stewart, and that is a great way to add something across the bottom to give it a little bit more. It could be, I like using vellum, and this particular strip had the flowers pressed in it. But you could use another color of paper or a strip that you've run through a embossing folder, something just to bring in another color and add some interest. And that purple paper was some scraps that I had in my stash. Now I am trying out some different, my recollection gems, and I felt like they were taking away from it. So I decided not to use those, and I will keep extra cutouts, you guys. Always keep your extras. So you see that I'm playing with some flowers, and I decide I need it a little smaller. So I'm going to add a little flower, and in the end, I'll add a little extra sparkle with those little bitty diamond gems. So this is going to be finishing up card number 2. And now card number 3. I think critters are an easy way to create a scene. And I like to use pattern paper for my background. And I had this blue little panel of paper that you can't see it, but it has a little harlequin. So for this card number 3, create a scene, you guys. Create a scene. And I am using a grass die and a cloud stencil. Now you might not have these kind of things in your stash. Don't worry, you can create your own stencils. I've done it before. For a cloud, you can just take your scissors and make some waves and create a stencil. That is super easy. And for grass, you can rip your paper. But I've been crafting for a while, and this is an Impression Obsession die, and you want to use all your things when you get it. So I used that die and created the grass, and inking the edges is a great way to elevate it just a little bit to have it stand out. Now, I have this leaf stamp. It's from an old Stampin' Up set called Sheltering Tree, and I used a Gina Marie die to make the tree. And you see that I cut it out really close to the line. And I don't want the white to stand out so much by his whiskers, so that's why I bring in a little tea dye. So create a scene with your little critters is so fun. I love creating scenes. So if you have those critters, get them out and make a little scene card. Now, if you haven't hit that like button, I would love for you to do so if you like what you're seeing. So as I finish up card number 3 here, I add a little gel pen highlights, and that's because when I cut that tree out, I felt like there wasn't enough definition. Trees have differentiation in the bark, and taking a gel pen and putting in the little highlights is a great way to give your card a little more interest. I also did it in the bunny's eyes too. So that's going to finish this up, and I will be putting it on a yellow card base. There you see it. I did add some extra highlights to the grass, not too many because I wasn't in love with it. Now, I stamped a Glad We're Friends, From the Fable Friends stamp set, I pull out some pink twine to bring in some more pink since there really wasn't other pink in that card there. And then I added 3 little pink gems. So what do you think of this one? Do you like how it turned out? Let me know in the comments below. And at the end, I'd love for you to tell me which one is your favorite. So that's going to finish card number 3. Card number 4. Actually, project number 4, I should say. You know, when you do little critters, you can make adorable tags, and that's what I'm doing here. Now, you might say, oh, Beck, you're making a carrot. That's a great idea. Well, I got this idea from Jill Norwood of Greenwood Girl Cards. She hosts Saturday Morning Makes, and it's funny, I was making this little carrot, and this week on her channel, she has created carrots. So I'm going to have this as a Satmore and Make in honor of Jill Norwood. So you see that I'm pulling in some twine, and I'm trying to figure out which of my ribbons I would like for the top of my carrot. Well, I have this, I don't know, eyelash ribbon maybe is what you call it, but it is super fun, and it's a little bit too wide, you guys. So I give it a haircut. You'll see me give it a haircut. So when you cut out a shape like that, those are some My Creative Time Prim Heart dies. And when you do a shape like that, you need to cut your paper. Cut your paper so that you can match them up. So I actually cut one backwards, and I had showed you that at the beginning. But putting your critter on a tag is another great thing that you can do. And I have some fun buttons, and I'm just deciding which one. And I decide on that flower button. It's kind of big, and there's a lot of projects I wouldn't put it on, so this was a really fun one. Now I'll be putting this on an Easter basket. So I took my twine and put it at the top in between the 2 hearts. So here is how that one turned out, and I went ahead and put a little button in the back. Isn't that tag cute? So you can make tags with your stamped single image of a critter. You can make a scene and use your punch to create decorative edges, and use large word dies or stamps to highlight that cute little critter. So I hope that these cards gave you inspiration to play with your stamps. And until next time, I hope you are having a great crafty day, and I will see you soon. Thanks for stopping by.